Alright, so just like last week, I'm going to be using the tier ranker again to rank every single championship reign in 2025 so far. So there's a couple good amount of reigns, so let's get into it. Alright, first and foremost we have the War Raiders Tag Team Championship reign, and quite frankly, I was not a fan of it whatsoever, but if I do remember correctly, they do put on good matches here and there. I can't justify putting this very high, but at the same time, I don't think it was trash. So we'll give it maybe a D. I'll give it a D. I'm not a huge fan of the War Raiders, and honestly, yeah, I just can't justify putting it anything higher than a D, honestly. Next, we have the people who took the championships off of the War Raiders, and those being the New Day. Now, I'll be honest with you, the New Day's championship reign wasn't that memorable either. I mean, honestly, this is the patch where Raw's tag team championships are pretty awful. So yeah, they didn't really do much with these belts either, and honestly they had less defenses, albeit I think they were just a tad bit more entertaining than the War Raiders in the sense that they actually had some personality that they gave to these titles, but they weren't anything better. So I will just put them above the War Raiders on D. Yeah, I like the New Day a little bit more than the War Raiders, but they had, I think, worse defenses, and because they didn't have as many defenses as the War Raiders. But at the same time, the War Raiders didn't really even have that many defenses either, so yeah, honestly, these championship reigns are just so not memorable. I can't even remember exactly what went down with them. I just know they were not very good, so I'm able to put them in a category such as the D category. Next, we have the people who dethroned the New Day, and those being the Judgment Day. And people will shit on the Judgment Day all day, every day, but at the end of the day, man, they are the most entertaining tag team. They are easily the best in-ring talent, so whenever they are given matches, they put on a show. And at the end of the day, that is kind of what I'm basing it on here. They obviously don't do much with these tag titles, but I can't say they're terrible with them, because they're not. I mean, they are very entertaining. They're a little bit more entertaining than the New Day with them, so I'm going to put them at the top of D tier. I really do think they are entertaining, at least with these tag team titles. But yeah, the other they got better as they, went to the Judgment Day. But honestly, yeah, that was the problem with the War Raiders. They don't have much of a personality. New Day had a little bit more of a personality, and Judgment Day just has a ton of personality, so that's kind of why I give the titles there. And I could easily put all three of these in F tier, but I'm trying to be a little bit generous here because there are some F tier people, and I think that these three reigns are a little bit better, but at the end of the day, they're not absolutely terrible. I'm not just justifying them on how many matches they get. I'm justifying them on how entertaining these people actually are. And I would say these people, for the most part, are entertaining. And the War Raiders, their ranking is kind of just carried by the fact that they can actually have a good match here and there. Alright, next we have DIY. And if I remember correctly, I think almost every single one of DIY's defenses were phenomenal. And then the fact that DIY is DIY, I gotta be honest, I think their reign was very good. I think I'm going to give them a B tier. I can't justify putting them in A or an S because obviously I think that is more for the prestigious, talent in the roster, and I really don't think DIY is all that prestigious right now. So their reign was great, and honestly I can't say enough about how good their reign really was. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything like too special, but it was still good. Next, we have the people who took the tag titles off of the DIY, and in those being the Street Profit, can't speak. But honestly, I don't even remember when the Street Profits took the tag titles off of them. I think, if I remember correctly, it was like in a TLC match the Friday after WrestleMania, but I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong there, but I honestly don't remember when the Street Profits won these. I just know they lost them against the Wyatt Six, I think heading into SummerSlam or something like that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it really... Their reign wasn't as memorable. I just know that they put on really good matches and they are very entertaining. I probably will put them in the C tier, but yeah, that's kind of where I see the Street Profits. Next, we have the people who took the tag titles off of the Street Profits, and those being the Wyatt Six. Now, I think the Wyatt Six have been way more entertaining this time around in their run. First time around when they first got introduced, they weren't as good, but now the fact that they actually have a tag team in the Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, and then Uncle Howdy seems to be getting a little bit more involved backstage. I'm liking what they're starting to do with the Wyatt Six, but this is kind of about just the tag titles, and honestly, these two don't have much of a personality at all. It's just Uncle Howdy who has the personality, if you ask me. But I will say that their matches are pretty solid. But at the same time, they do not defend these very often. I think they've had 1 or 2 defenses since they've won it. I mean, they don't defend them very, very often. Granted, they are in a good tag division on Smackdown, so that is another thing that helps with them a little bit, is that there are solid tag teams for them to have defenses against. So, same thing as the Street Profits. I think I'd probably put them in the C tier right above the Street Profits, because right now I do think the Wyatt Six are a little bit more entertaining than what the Street Profits were. And what is going on with the Street Profits right now is kind of entertaining in the sense that we don't know whether or not Ford and Dawkins have their chemistry back together, you know. There's still cracks that are forming between the two of them, so I would love to see what they decide to do with that. And next, we move on to the Women's Tag Team Championships, initially held by Bianca Belair and Naomi, where Naomi obviously stole the title back in like November from Jade or whatever, when Jade got allegedly injured. But yeah, heading into this match, I don't think we knew that just yet, because obviously the Elimination Chamber hadn't taken place. But this is their first, I think, match or whatever was against Liv Morgan and Raquel, was when they actually dethroned them. And I'm talking in 2025, not all time. I'm saying I think their first title defense was against Liv and Raquel, but I could be wrong. They could have had more. Again, this is early on in the year. I don't entirely remember, but I do know that they were really solid champions. And honestly, these guys kind of take the cake for, you know, being that tag champion that I can actually justify putting up there. I mean, Bianca's reign with Jade kind of helps her here, because Bianca, unfortunately for Naomi, not so much, but Bianca, I mean, she was the big part of this tag team, so obviously you kind of have to give them a little leeway here. But yeah, I gotta be honest, their reign was very, very good. I gotta be honest, they had a really solid reign. So yeah, I'll give them A tier. Next, we have the people who took the titles off of them, and those being Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And yeah, that was a good. I liked that match a lot. And honestly, say what you want to say about Liv and Raquel and the fact that maybe they don't defend the titles as much as they should. But you know what? There really isn't that big of a women's tag team roster on the main roster. So there's not many people to actually have a defense against. So with that being said, though, I do find them a lot more entertaining than what Bianca and Naomi were. I actually am going to put them in A tier because they had fantastic chemistry between the two of them, and Liv Morgan's personality just carries this for me, in my opinion. She has a fantastic personality persona that she sticks to, and Judgment Day's entire clubhouse kind of helped bolster these reigns for them. I mean, without the Judgment Days, the men's tag titles, and being in the Judgment Day, they could easily, it probably would have been an F tier, but with Dom coming into the mix and Liv and Raquel being around, Roxanne being around, Carlito for a little bit, it kind of helps bolster their reign just a little bit because it made them a little bit more entertaining, you know? And yes, it has nothing to really do with the tag titles, but at the same time, it kind of does, because you see them in the background, you see them being like trying to decide when they're gonna defend the titles and whatnot. Yeah, there's just a lot of coolness that they were doing, and I enjoyed their reign, honestly. I thought it was really, really entertaining. Now, you're probably confused as to why I have Liv and Raquel again, but that is because Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria beat them on night 2 of WrestleMania, and then lost the tag titles literally the night after on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, so I am not going to include Becky Lynch and Lyra here. There is no reason to, because they had no reign whatsoever. But basically, Liv and Raquel, I don't even remember if they really had that many defenses afterwards. I think maybe they had one. But yeah, their second tag run wasn't the most memorable. I would probably say, I'd probably put it in maybe C tier, the top of C tier. It wasn't that memorable, if you ask me. I mean, their first reign or whatever was fantastic, but then their second one after WrestleMania wasn't that good, because there just felt like there was other things going on in the background, and their tag title run was kind of the last thing they were focusing on. So I mean, with that being said, it was kind of just a given that they really weren't going to be that good in the second run. And next we have the pairing of Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Now, I actually really enjoyed this tag team. They worked so damn well off of one another. Their chemistry was insane. They had a lot of defenses, if I remember correctly. I mean, seriously, they did a very good job with putting these titles in actually good standing, in my opinion. I thought they were, honestly, hot take, I think they've been the best women's tag team this year so far. Honest to God, I believe it. Roxanne has brought out the best in Raquel. Raquel has looked the best she has ever looked without Liv Morgan, and the same could be said of Roxanne. Yes, Roxanne obviously doesn't have as big of a role anymore. She's not like the face of the women's division right now, but that's okay. She just needs to be there for this tag team, and honestly, they feel like they have more chemistry than Liv and Raquel, which I thought was going to be hard to beat, but yeah, in a sense, this has allowed Raquel to kind of take off and kind of just showcase what she's capable of. You know, even now when they don't have the tag titles, they have been very, very good together, and I still think they are really, really good together. Yeah, I mean, they have been fun. They've been really fun to watch together, and I wasn't expecting this, but honestly, they've been the best women's tag team this year. Next, we have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They unfortunately do not have a tag team title run just yet, but yeah, I mean, their reign hasn't been anything memorable, in my opinion. I don't think it has really done much for either one of them at the moment, but honestly, it hasn't been terrible. It's been okay. I'll put them in B. I mean, they're both very good, obviously. They have fantastic personalities. I like the little friendship thing they're trying to do, but honestly, yeah, it hasn't been anything memorable, but at the same time, it's been okay. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been memorable. It's been better than Liv and Raquel's second reign. I'll just say that. I mean, yeah. Now we finally move on to the single titles, and that being the first one being the women's US title. In my opinion, the worst title right now in this entire year so far. The worst singles title has easily been the women's US title. But in my opinion, it has just gotten worse and worse. It started off strong. Chelsea Green honestly was a strong first singles champion, and hate me or whatnot, but honestly, I'm going to put her not right there. I'm going to put her in the middle of B tier. I think Chelsea Green's first run, or just run in general as US champion, was entertaining. She had the best personality, and yeah, she was just great. She was fantastic. Next, we have the person who took the title off of Chelsea Green, and that being Zelina Vega, and holy shit, yeah, first F tier in my opinion. Zelina Vega's title run was awful, and I don't want to say it was her fault. I think it was just a product of her booking. It had not been very good, and honestly, she had one of the worst matches I've ever seen on Saturday night's main event against Chelsea Green. I can't remember if Zelina was already the champion or not, but either way, she has that under her belt, and it was during that time where she was like in the championship picture. Yeah, that wasn't very good. So honestly, that kind of hinders this a lot. So that was her fault. But the other ones, just in general, of her not getting many matches, not much screen time, that is obviously just a product of her booking. But yeah, her entire reign, in my opinion, was just not very good at all. And next we have Julia, the person who took the title off of Zelina Vega. And honestly, her reign has been better, but not much better. I would say it would probably go in the middle of D tier. I think it's been better than a little bit better than other championship reigns, but honestly, it hasn't been anything special. I think it's been okay. I won't put him ahead of Judgment Day just because Judgment Day has that personality that I really enjoy, and their reign, not so much. I mean, New Day and War Raiders, but Julia, honestly, she has good, solid defenses. I think all of her matches so far with the title has been really, really good, showcasing how actually good she is. Unfortunately, they did give her Kiana James, which at first I thought she would need, but there's a sense that I'm getting where it's almost like Kiana James is taking the spotlight away from Julia, and that's kind of hurting Julia, in my opinion. So I wish they didn't. I wish if they were going to do this, they kind of give it a little bit more balance, because honestly, it just feels like Kiana James is taking over a little bit, and she is the US champion when she's literally not. I actually would think Kiana James would be a great first opponent for Julia, and not first, but just opponent in general for Julia, because Give it a real feud, and maybe at some point they turn this where Kiana James does turn on Julia and does go for the championship. And if they do that, I think that'll be very good for Kiana James and Julia, because it gives them something very solid to do. But yeah, I don't think her reign's been god-awful like Zelina Vega's, but I don't think it was great either. So yeah, Julia, but you know what? Who cares? I think she's been fine so far. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been terrible either. Next, we have Shinsuke Nakamura, and I cannot believe he was actually champion at some point. I remember when he first won it at Survivor Series, and I was stoked. I was like, holy shit, they actually did it. They pulled the trigger. Oh my god, oh my god. And then it ended up being absolutely dog shit. Yeah, his reign was not memorable at all. I remember it being better than Zelina Vega's, but yeah, aside from that, it was awful. I mean, seriously, his booking was atrocious. He barely got any screen time. His vignettes or whatever the hell those were, yeah, no thank you. I don't know what the hell that was yet, but yeah, Shinsuke was awful. I'm sorry, man, you were not a good champion. Just no. Next, we have the guy that everyone was thanking for taking the championship off of him, and that being LA Knight. But yeah, LA Knight, I think his first reign was better than his second reign, because at the end of the day, it was kind of just, we were waiting for the person after LA Knight to take the championship off of him, because obviously everybody wanted to see the other guy as champion, and we'll get into him in a second. But LA Knight's reign, honestly, I wouldn't say was that good, so I'm just going to put it at the top of C tier, because his personality just carries it for me. LA Knight was just a fantastic personality, so yeah, I'll put it at the top of C tier, but I do not remember it being all that memorable in my opinion. I mean, you could make an argument it's ahead of Alexa and Charlotte, but you know what? At the end of the day, man, it wasn't anything memorable, if you ask me. I don't think he got all that many defenses, and yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to grade this entirely off of who the person is, because at the end of the day, if you look at this and you're like, why is LA Knight ranked lower than Chelsea Green, or DIY for that matter? It's not the person, it's just the championship reign I'm ranking here, man, and that's the thing, is if the reign's ass, I can't justify putting it higher, you know? I just can't. So, yeah, this is my list at the end of the day, so deal with it. And I was just talking about him, the next person being Jacob Fatu, who took the championship off of LA Knight at WrestleMania 41. Now, unfortunately, his reign wasn't that good either. His reign was just not good. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, unfortunately, he's a product of booking as well. I mean, his reign just got clogged by, I don't even know. They didn't know what to do with him. That's what the problem was. They really had no idea what to do with Jacob Fatu when he was champion. And I would say he was maybe a little bit better than LA Knight, but at the same time, it wasn't anything special. He had one defense that he retained at Backlash in a Fatal 4-Way, and that was a solid match. But it just, I don't know, if set up other feuds in the background, like a Drew McIntyre and a Damian Priest feud that was already going, but it just continued on to Saturday night's main event. But Jacob Fatu, I mean, he didn't have any other defenses, I don't think, and his reign, again, was just not memorable. They were just waiting for the Solo and Jacob Fatu fallout, and then obviously other things happened and it took its course. But yeah, Jacob Fatu's reign wasn't that good either, in my opinion. And for a reason that his feud wasn't so good, it being Solo Sikoa. I mean, oh my god, Solo, it was just inevitability of when Solo was going to take the championship off of him, and I feel bad for Solo, but falls in the same category as almost everyone in DNF, is that his booking was god-awful, and his persona, I don't know, he tries a little too hard in his persona, and it just comes across as goofy. Yeah, I think I'm going to put him in D tier. It wasn't that good, in my opinion. It really wasn't that good of a reign. And then his defense against Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam, one of, if not the worst match on the entire card. I'm not even joking. That match was horrendous. Yeah, I just, wow. I don't know what they did with that, but that was awful. And then he relied way too much on his MFTs. That was just getting ridiculous. And you want to see a champion be a little bit competent, which he easily was not. And it was just unfortunate, you know, it really was unfortunate. And last but not least, for the United States Championship, we have Sami Zayn. And honest to God, I think Sami Zayn is going to get himself all the way up into S tier. So far, his reign has been fantastic. I really have enjoyed his reign so far, and it's just the fact that he has brought this championship relevance again. It feels relevant again, and it actually feels a little bit stronger than the Intercontinental Championship right at the moment, but it has nothing to do with Dom being a bad champion. It's just the fact that we see this championship get defended literally every single Monday night or every single Friday night. Granted, Dom is now starting to defend his championship a little bit more, so I'm starting to like that a lot. But yeah, I mean, Sami Zayn, for instance, it's just has been so good that I've just enjoyed it. He is defended against like new people every single week, and it kick-started with John Cena having his first title defense. That is fantastic. I mean, you start with that big of a name, and then it only gets better. I mean, yeah, it's just been a great reign in my opinion. I have enjoyed Sami's reign, and it's like he doesn't get a lot of talking, he just wrestles, and that's another thing that if you're not going to have him talk a lot, just let him be fucking wrestling every week. It's perfect, honestly. And next we have the Intercontinental Champion, and the first one being Braun Breaker, and he held it all the way up until WrestleMania 41, night 2, and yeah, I thought his reign was pretty solid too. I had no complaints about Braun Breaker's reign. I think Breaker had a pretty solid reign, honestly. I'll put him in A tier. I think it was good. I enjoyed it. Actually, you know what? Nah, I'm going to put it in B tier. B tier. Top of B tier. I think Braun Breaker's reign was solid, but it kind of got bogged down to the point where he needed a manager, and now he finally has one in Paul Heyman, so obviously he's getting a lot better. But yeah, his talking skills from up until WrestleMania weren't the best, so honestly they put him in a situation where he just wasn't very good just yet at the talking, and he obviously would have banger matches, but the actual other half of being a good champion is you got to be able to talk a little bit and be entertaining outside of your matches, which he literally was not. So that was the problem with Braun Breaker, but honestly his matches carried it. I mean, his matches were phenomenal, so honestly I can't justify putting him up in A tier, but yeah, he was a great champion in my opinion. And next we have the guy who took the championship off of him in the Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania, and that being Dominic Mysterio. You already know I have a soft spot where Dom is concerned, but at the end of the day, I am being, very, realistic about these. I think Dom has easily had the second or third best reign since WrestleMania, and yeah, believe it or not, I think he has had the second or third best reign, and yeah, it's been good. Second or third, I mean, I can't justify putting him in S tier because obviously, yeah, but A tier, I can easily put him in A tier. I think his reign has been just fine. I think it's been better than every single reign up here because he just makes them so entertaining. Every single feud he is in, it's just been entertaining. His matches have been getting better and better and better. This 2025 has been Dom's year, in my opinion. This has been a fantastic year for him. Yeah, he's been great. I have enjoyed his reign so far. And now he's a triple mega champion, and he's been doing good with that as well. He's going to have his first title defense coming up in a couple weeks, too, for that championship. So I'm looking forward to it. He's been very entertaining so far. Next, we move on to Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra, I think initially heading into WrestleMania wasn't as entertaining, but at the end of the day, she did put on great matches, and that was something that was very good for her. But after WrestleMania, she has 100% blossomed into a star, in my opinion. She has been fantastic ever since after WrestleMania. The feud with Becky Lynch completely kickstarted her into an actual star. I think she's been great. I can't justify putting her in C tier, but I can put her at the end of B tier. I think she's been good enough that she can get herself into B tier, but yeah, it wasn't terrible, but at the same time, she wasn't defending the title all that often, and when she would defend it, it wasn't against real names that you could actually justify going over her, like Dakota Kai. Unfortunately, at the time, I was kind of hoping she would, but let's be real here, Dakota Kai wasn't on her level, and I'm glad they didn't go that route, because honestly, it helped Lyra in the long run, and Lyra has kind of blossomed from that. So she got a few good defenses under her belt, but yeah, it's been okay. It was an okay run, but honestly, it ran its course, and I'm glad that... Actually, it wasn't even until WrestleMania, because she was a double champ. I forgot about that, but it was up until, I think, Backlash. I think she lost the championship at Backlash, or was it Money in the Bank? No, Money in the Bank. I'm an idiot. Yeah, she lost it at Money in the Bank, because that's when Becky made Lyra raise her hand. ever since after WrestleMania, that is when her feud started getting really good. But the problem is that a lot of that is due to Becky Lynch, not Lyra herself. So again, I'm gonna leave her where she is. But yeah, I think she was good either way. I'm starting to finally remember now, so that's good. Next, we have the person who took the championship off of Lyra at Money in the Bank, and that being Becky Lynch. And I said it before, I think Becky Lynch has been phenomenal. And you know how I mentioned Dom being the second or third best champion? Well, this is number one. Becky Lynch's Intercontinental Championship reign has been phenomenal. She defends that thing very often, and she puts on fantastic matches. People are constantly saying she's washed and whatnot. She is not. And this past Monday Night Raw, she had a fantastic match with Maxine Dupree. And then people are saying, well, why are you giving Becky the credit when it's Maxine? I'm just like, dude, come on. Like, be for real right now. Maxine is not carrying a match at her level right now. Like, come on. Becky Lynch is the reason they got This Is Awesome chance, and it's not even a question. Like, the people who don't know wrestling it's just laughable, the fact that you actually think Maxine Dupree is the reason that match got This Is Awesome chance. You know, yes, her personality was shining in that match, and I'm not saying Maxine was terrible, but dude, it was Becky Lynch who got that match going. Her heel heat, interacting with the crowd, yes, it's just exactly what you want to see from a champion, and Becky is actually having matches on Raw for her Intercontinental Championship. And her reign's been great so far. I have enjoyed every single bit of it. Yeah, except maybe the Nikki Bella stuff. That was a little rough. And people are going to say, well, that was Becky Lynch's fault again. Dude, let's be real. It was just a timing issue. And honestly, Nikki Bella should have waited. I'm sorry, but Nikki Bella should have waited a couple seconds to make sure Becky was in place for that little kick move she was doing off the top rope. I watched it back. That was 100% Nikki Bella's fault. I'm sorry, it just was. Nikki Bella needed to wait, and it wasn't anything on Becky Lynch. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Becky Lynch has had a fantastic reign so far. Now we move on to the World Champions, and the first one being Rhea Ripley. She won at the January 6th, the Monday Night Raw Netflix debut, and she beat Liv Morgan. Another reason why Liv Morgan is not on this list for the World Championship is the fact that she literally had no reign. We didn't see her throughout the entire time of 2025 leading up to January 6th. So, yeah, her reign doesn't really count in my opinion. I mean, it just doesn't. I'm sorry. You didn't really see her, dude. And if I'm counting her, it'd basically be 2024 Liv Morgan I'm counting, and it's about 2025. So there's just no reason to have her on this list. But Rhea's reign, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. People are quick to say that the Nia Jax match she had was terrible. Dude, it was actually pretty good. I won't lie. And yeah, I can justify putting this probably... I'll put this right in the middle of B. I think it was you know what? Right there. I'll put it right there. I think Chelsea Green did a fantastic job with the U.S. title, so that's kind of why I'm going to do that. I think Chelsea had a fantastic personality. Rhea, I think, was still working on her personality a little bit. It wasn't shining through as well. I think now she's kind of find her spot a little bit, but honestly, yeah, I think she had a couple good matches. I mean, she didn't defend the thing very often at all. I think she had maybe 1 or 2 defenses before EO took it off of her, but either way, yeah, it was okay. It was good. It was good. You know, at the end of the day, it was good. And I just said her name, EO Sky, the next person who took the championship off of Rhea, like the Monday Night Raw after Elimination Chamber, which completely shocked everybody. That was a fantastic shock moment, if you ask me. And then she's had very solid matches all the way up until Evolution, which is where she lost it to the next person. But yeah, I mean, that match at Evolution was fantastic. Her match at WrestleMania was fantastic. Yeah, man, I mean, I gotta be honest, I think she's gonna be right behind Dom here, honestly. I think she had a fantastic reign, in my opinion. I can't justify putting it ahead of Dom because she struggles with the personality stuff, and Dom is fantastic with that. And again, this is not me having a soft spot. This is just being realistic here. She definitely struggles with the personality stuff, in my opinion. Her doing like this or whatever, that's not much of a personality, man. That's just you being a little bit crazy in the ring. You know what? I like it. I'm not saying it's dumb or anything like that, but yeah, it's just at the end of the day, man, you can't say that that's a personality. That's just her being a little crazy and being psycho. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I think her reign's been really, really good so far. And if you want to put it ahead of Dom's, go right ahead. I don't care. But It's just personality is something I really, really want to see out of a wrestler. I don't want to just see wrestling. Yes, that's great and all, but obviously you want to have a champion that you can get behind, you can have fun with, and I can have more fun with Dom than I can with Io. At the end of the day, it's just the truth. Next, we have Naomi, and honestly, Naomi's run wasn't great, but at the end of the day, it wasn't terrible. I would say it was probably a little bit better than, I would probably put it at the top of B tier, honestly. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. You know, she was just getting started, in my opinion. I think it could have been a little bit better. She definitely tried to be a little bit more annoying than I would want her to be with that laugh. I mean, heel Naomi is funny and all, but wow, it was just a little too much. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what do you want? I mean, what are you gonna get? I don't know. It could have been better, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Naomi was good, but yeah, her I think it was her only title defense. The whatchamacallit, the SummerSlam match, that was really good, I thought, and she did the perfect heel route and like stealing the win off of Rhea. I thought that was great. But yeah, I mean, honestly, she didn't do much in her reign. I think it was better than Braun Breaker because she has a little bit more personality at the end of the day. I hold personality high, as you can tell. So yeah, I mean, I think it was fine. Next, we have Stephanie Vaquer, and unfortunately, I can't really justify putting her that high considering she hasn't defended the title really at all. Her promos, she is still working on them. She's not great. She's just not great at them yet. But it hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been great either. I'm going to have to put this like right there in C tier. It hasn't been great. Her match to win the championship was phenomenal, if you ask me. That was the best match at WrestlePalooza by far. But yeah, that's kind of what's carrying her ranking here. It's just the match to win the championship. I thought it was great. So honestly, yeah, that's really what carries her here. Her reign's just too early for me to really do anything else with it. But that match, you know what, I will hold in high regard. But yeah, she's still working on the personality aspect, which is why LA Knight and Jacob Fatu rank a little bit higher than her. Now on to the men's world championships, and the first one being Gunther. Unfortunately, Gunther's first reign was plagued by Jey Uso, and him basically having a huge ass feud with him for like the majority of the entire first half of the year, of going all the way up until actually, unfortunately, like June. Yeah, he was feuding with him all the way until June, it felt like. But his feud really was supposed to culminate at WrestleMania Night 1, which was one of the worst matches ever. I just hated that match. But anyway, yeah, Gunther I enjoyed, but the problem is that Jey Uso was just not helping his cause whatsoever, so I can't justify putting him in A tier. But Gunther himself, I love Gunther, dude. Gunther is fantastic at what he does. He's a great heel. He had a great solid point where, like, leading up to WrestleMania, where he was being brutal and doing exactly what you need to do with a champion like Gunther. Like, he was bloodying up Jimmy Uso, and then he had some solid matches against Otis and Akira Tozawa. Yeah, believe it or not, Tozawa actually had a good match against him. But yeah, it just made Gunther look a little bit more brutal, and it helped him a lot. His match against Jay at Saturday Night's Main Event, I think, was terrible as well. So yeah, and it wasn't even Gunther's fault. That's the problem with these, is that you can't even blame Gunther for this. But at the end of the day, I can't justify putting him anywhere higher than this. So yeah. Oh, this guy, Jey Uso is next, and oh wow, do I wish Jey Uso never won this thing at WrestleMania. I really wish he never did. But Jay's reign, honestly, I can't justify putting this that high. His reign was okay, but it wasn't anything special. I'll put my Jey Uso hate aside for a minute. I'm going to put him at the top of C tier. I don't think it was anything special, but at the end of the day, you know what? He defended the thing pretty often. He was in the ring a lot. They gave him a lot of time. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't a Shinsuke or a Zelina Vega level of bad, but honestly, it wasn't great. It just wasn't. And next we have Gunther Part 2. Gunther won this thing, obviously, the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it wasn't anything special either. I mean, this reign, unfortunately, I think was worse than his first one. It was basically just they wanted to get the belt off of Jay. It felt like they wanted a safe route until Monday, until SummerSlam. Is kind of what it felt like. They wanted to just have the safe option. And Gunther only, I think, had one match, and that was against Goldberg. So for that reason alone, man, I mean, yeah, it was pretty rough. You know what? I'll be nice to Jay for once. I'll say Jay's reign was a little bit better than Gunther's second reign because it kind of was. But honestly, yeah, I could actually put Jacob ahead, and maybe I'll put LA Knight ahead. Yeah, I'll put him right there. Gunther's second reign just was not very good in my opinion, and it's unfortunate, but it just really was not that good. So, I mean, I could even very well see a picture where I put it in D and F, but I am just leaving those for the people that we barely see, and when we do see them, it's just like they're not doing anything with the championships, and that was kind of them. So, yeah, we at least saw Gunther almost all the time. Gunther had like an in-ring segment, like basically all the time leading up to Saturday Night's main event and SummerSlam, so you know what, at least it was interesting for the most part. Next, we have Seth Rollins. Now, this guy, it is hard to rank him, and same thing for the, that happened with the Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez against the Lyra and Becky thing. Lyra and Becky only had it for a day. CM Punk only had it for 5 minutes. So I'm not going to put CM Punk on this list. It just doesn't make any sense to. So Seth Rollins, though, if it wasn't for that cash-in, dude, he would rank so much lower. I'll put him at the end of A tier, but it's not because I've enjoyed his reign so far. His reign's been just boggled down by the fact that he does not defend this championship very often at all, and I wish he did because he would have fantastic matches, man. He really, really would, but he is going the Cody route, and unfortunately, he does not defend this thing very often at all, and so, yeah, I can't justify putting him anything higher, but his reign so far has been carried by that freaking cash-in. That cash-in was phenomenal. I mean, easily one of the best, if not the best of all time. I don't know if he topped his other one, but it's close. It's very close. So yeah, I can't justify putting him anywhere higher, but yeah, I think it's been okay so far, but it could be better if you ask me. But that cash-in was just too good. And next we have the first Cody Rhodes reign heading into WrestleMania 41, and this one I think was his best reign of the year so far. This one has the highlight of the Kevin Owens feud at the beginning of the year, and then up until Elimination Chamber is kind of when, or the middle of February until The Rock came around is when The Rock was wanting Cody's soul. That's kind of when it just went downhill. But yeah, up until then, I thought it was really solid. I really enjoyed the Kevin Owens match. I thought it was fantastic. We all thought Kevin Owens was dead, I ain't gonna lie. I actually am going to put this up here. I think that match alone kind of carried this for him. His feud with Kevin Owens was fantastic. I loved it a lot. I don't think it was anything better than Io Sky's, but honestly, it was not terrible. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a fun championship reign, and he had a fun defense because, honestly, people were actually thinking Kevin Owens was going to beat him at some point. So I actually had a gut feeling Kevin Owens might actually win at the Royal Rumble, so yeah, I wasn't surprised when Kevin Owens lost, but at the same time, I was, because that was the closest Cody actually felt to losing that championship, in my opinion. And next we have John Cena's heel championship run, and people are gonna shit on this all the time. I actually didn't think it was terrible. I found it entertaining, because he could actually cut heel promos and make them really funny. Honestly, John Cena was funny as champion. I actually enjoyed his reign. I'm not gonna put it... Honestly, you know what, for nostalgic purposes, I will put it ahead of Cody's. I think John Cena had a fun reign because he basically fought all the people we wanted to see him fight as champion. He fought Randy Orton, he fought CM Punk, and then, I mean, yeah, man, it was just entertaining. At the end of the day, it was entertaining, and then he lost it to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, which we were all wanting more out of, but you know what? He had a fantastic match there. It was a great way to lose the championship, if you ask me. He finally made up for all those shit matches he was having, but you know what? At least his feuds were fun, and yeah, that's kind of what carries it for me. His feuds were fun for the most part, and yeah, he had more feuds than Cody did in that span, so honestly, yeah, I found it fun. So at the end of the day, yeah. And last but not least, we have Cody Rhodes' reign that's going on right now, and that being he only had one title defense so far against Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza, and that wasn't a very good defense, if you ask me. and it had nothing to do with either one of them, if you ask me. It was more or less just the booking decisions in that match. It made no sense, and honestly, people were clamoring for Cody to lose that match, and they didn't want to do that to their golden child, which I can understand, but you know what? So far, it really has not been anything special. His reign has just been bogged down by literally anything, or anything and everything. I mean, I cannot justify putting this higher than maybe C tier, middle of C tier right now. I just can't justify putting it anywhere higher, so yeah. Cody's reign really has not done anything special so far. Anyway, this is my list. This is how I tier list it so far. I actually really like my list. I think my list is really accurate. I think I'm gonna get a lot of agreements in this. I think people will agree with me on how this is looking so far. Early on, I could easily see people being like, why isn't the Judgment Day in F tier or anything like that? Guys, you gotta be honest here. They are at least watchable. They are watchable. Shinsuke and Zelina, I think, are the only two who really were not watchable. So, at the end of the day, though, I think every other reign has been, for the most part, fun. I think B tier and above is actually a good championship reign, and then C tier is where I would say it's okay. Nothing special, but okay. And then D tier, I would say it's where it starts to go downhill and it's not very good. And then obviously F tier is not good at all. So, in my opinion, I think this is for the most part very accurate. I would love to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comment section. So please leave your comments about what you actually think of my list. And until next time, guys, I will see ya.